Amazing, like, oh, hello.
There we go.
We're ready in 40. I think we're live pretty soon. Yeah.
I think we're live now, aren't we?
Oh my gosh. Well, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is so exciting. We've got, today is January 28th. It's also Let's Talk Bell Let's Talk, to raise that awareness about mental health. And so mental health is so important, not only during COVID, but all the time. We have today with us Kevin Sandy, and he's going to be talking to us about movement is medicine, which is absolutely wonderful. But first, I want to give a shout out to Power, as well as for Grandmother's Voice. Speak Up and Power has given us this opportunity to have a voice for Indigenous folk to come together, to share our stories, to be together in community, because we can't be in community together. So this is how we're creating our virtual community of coming together, having conversations, uplifting each other and supporting each other this way. So we've started our speaker series. We have 9 weeks of speakers coming to us through Grandmother's Voice, as well as lots of people that we have. So we started a couple weeks ago, every Tuesday from 12 until 1:30, and then every Thursday from 10 until 11:30. So again, just so grateful that you've joined us, Kevin. Kevin and I have crossed paths numerous times in education, and Kevin's going to tell his story and let us know a little bit more about him. And but we're so thrilled. We're thrilled that you're here. We're thrilled that you've joined us, and we've had a bit of a discussion in the background in our blue, we're calling it, because today we've put the ticker down here at Blue to acknowledge Bell Let's Talk Day, and as well as talking about just moving our bodies, medicine, taking care of our own mental health. And Kevin's going to talk an awful lot more about that. So Kevin, I'm going to give you the show and I'll talk to you in a little while.
Okay. Yeah. Now and Sherry for that introduction. And again, I'll say, Mushkegowuk, coming to you from, I'll say, beautiful Grand River country here on Second Line in my community. Some people call it Mixed Nations of the Grand River Territory, as I like to call it, Grand River country. But Mushkegowuk, Negaunia ne Gayaso, Gayo Kono, Niwat Goat Jonta, Otakioni, Niwat Gat Shaunta, Ne Oshwige, Nidwageno, Ne Ungwe Ne. Haudenosaunee. My given name in my language is Negaunia, and that actually is interpreted into the one who is in the sky, or our little sky, as my Haudenosaunee and Gonoh told me. I says when I was much younger, we'll say, and I come from the Cayuga Nation. The Cayuga Nation is my family. That's who I belong to, and again, people sometimes reference us as people of the Great Pipe, but also some people reference us, and depends who you talk to, people of the Great Swamp as well. So, and again, I think that's really important. I think it's that sense of identity, and I also run with the Wolf Clan. I said that's my family, and very matrilineal in nature. My mom's family, I said, is all comes from Otakioni, and Otakioni really doesn't really reference wolves so much. It's just kind of the ones who are leading that kind of path and leading that kind of journey in life, and I think that's who I am as an individual, as a Haudenosaunee, and as an uncle, as a friend to many individuals in my beautiful community here. And we're at a critical point, I think, in time and juncture in our lives right now, and I think aspect of getting up and movement is really important. It's like I think a lot of the games, I said, that I played when I was a kid were attached to our Mother the Earth. I say Owenza Day. I says we're people Owenza Geha, people of the Earth. I says, and also we have a very strong connection, I said, to the heavens that are up above, like I say, and then that's the aspect of like moving and getting in tune to kind of yourself, and just like opening your heart, I says, and opening your heart and minds, I think, to something that's just greater. I think that serves a greater purpose in our lives. But a little bit about myself. in terms of I guess who I am, my parents, I says, were are Vincent Sandy. My mom passed away on November 5th, actually, this last year. Audrey Carol Bomberry. So and then that was part of I think of a journey and the transition, I says, that our family has had to go through. But also I see that as that part. It was a, I believe, a beautiful recognition of my mom in her life, and I says in the role that she played in our life growing up. I'm the oldest of three other siblings. Like I say, I have a sister who works in language commission. I have a brother who works in lands, and I have another brother who works in lands membership. And again, I'm also a wonderful hotney to my two amazing children and the levels of my life. I said, this is my daughter here, Menaywaywyn, and her name in their mom's Mushkegowuk actually means gift, and she certainly is that. And here's my awesome and wonderful son. He's 19, going on 20 now, and he's actually finishing up his college. He's actually on placement today, doing a 12-hour shift as a paramedic in training. And like I say, I'm just so happy and proud of who they are. And they fill my life. They fill my life with that what we call that really caring, that Gonoh. I said something that's here. Like I say, within my heart, and I says, and I think that's something, I says, that has allowed me, I says, to continue to each day, and every day when I get up, I says, I'll do that Thanksgiving, that Gonoh, and I think, as we say in Haudenosaunee, I says, you got to listen, and it's, I think, my responsibility to continue to do that as an Ungwe person, and Ungwe father and uncle, and I think that's really the important part of me. And growing up on Grand River territory, I was my grandfather, Andrew Bomberry, says, was Onondaga, and he spoke a number of the languages, like you say, 5 of the 6 languages. And when he passed, I know in '87, he was actually learning the Tuscarora as well. So I think, and even looking at my dad as well, like I says, my dad was a first language speaker, and my mom was a teacher, I says, and I think that's the aspect that really kind of like helped me, I think, in my transition in life. It says, still learning, like I say, I says, I'm still learning. I says, and that's the part of life. I says that's we're all doing, and we're all experiencing at this point in time. And but to me, it's more about that. It's more about that connection, that strong connection that we have. This connection that goes like this. Sometimes we're apart, but what brings us together is the cycle of life. Like you say, in our community, we just got done the midwinter kind of ceremonies, Gainiwage, I says, and attached to that, I says, is some of those ceremonies that we do, some of the games that we play that really allows us, I says, to open our hearts and spirit, I says, in that connection to who we are as Ongwehonwe people. And growing up, I says, in Grand River territory, I think one of the biggest things, I says, that has always been a part of my life has always been the games. I says, Utkanyantra, I says, as my dad would call it, I says, is those games that we play. I says, and I remember actually when I'm gonna be a little bit movement here happening. I says, but the big thing for me is hopefully everyone can kind of see me here. Maybe that light's gonna get in the way a little bit. I says, but in terms of the game, it was this stick ball game. I says that we play. I says is it's part of who we are. It's part of who we are as Haudenosaunee people, and I think this is I remember my dad telling me, he says, probably about a couple of months ago, I think, before my mom passed, I just remember, he says, the time, he says, that Uncle Howard, he says, give you a stick. And Uncle Howard's guy, like you say, he was an orator. He was a presenter. He was someone, I says, who traveled around and shared, and he was an organizer and doing what we do, I says, to make sure that people have a better understanding as to who we are. And I kind of taken that kind of journey. I think I see that in my life. Like I say, I think those transformative years are really important in our lives. It says, but in those kind of first 5, 6, 7 years of life, I was introduced to a lot of our games that we play, and then I think that's been part of, like I say, of my knowledge, I says, and my understanding, and again, it's something I says that's been always there for us. I'm rooted very deeply in a lot of these games that we play, and a lot of them involve, like you say, movement. They involve passing, throwing, the catching, either left-handed or either right-handed, or and I think that's been an aspect of my life, I says, that has been really important. It's really helped ground me as a person. It's helped me, I think, get through some of my, we'll say, struggles in life. I think some of the pain that we experience as well, not only from injury, I says, but just maybe some of the struggles that we've had within ourselves. I see some of those aspects that we need to reconnect with, and I think that's been the aspect, because my dad said, he says, when you were given that stick, he says, all he did is this, he says, and he says, like Yonte, he says, that's that big smile, but that, to me, that even means more than that, because it's really connected to me. I says, to my spirit is connected to me, who I am as that person, and I think that's and he says, and as we were talking, like I really really admire my dad, because like my dad's been a truly influence in my life. He worked in the steel industry down in Hamilton. They fabricated steel. He worked crazy hours just to provide for us as his children, and for his family. And when my mom got sick, he was there to look after her. He was a caregiver. Like, my dad retired when he was 59. And I kind of chuckle, because we kind of laugh as a family, because my dad didn't really know how to cook. But the big thing about it is he was always there. He instilled in us, I think, that reaching out, that hard work, that what I seen. I said, in him traveling around and working crazy hours, and even growing up to go watch him the game that he loved to play, which was this game as well. Like you say, my grandpa played. I says, my great grandpa played. I says, it's just been part of, it's been ingrained within my family, and my ancestors. Like I say, is dating way back, and that's part of that creation. That's part of that. I think that beauty of life that we need to connect with, and it's something that has always grounded us. And my dad, like you say, when my mom did get sick, I says, he was always there for me. He was always there for us. He was always there for my mom, and to me, that just truly showed he's amazing character, in that Gunokwa that he had for my mom. And I think in her 78 years, I said, they were together sort of for 56 of that. I says, even sometimes even more. I says, but the aspect of that, he was always there through her, and I think that's the aspect. This is where I always admire him and look up to him. And even my mom, I says, when my mom passed, I says, yeah, it's hard on individuals. I says, but you again reconnect to all the good. I remember my mom sharing this story. And I think I was up in Guelph. I says, I think before we went into lockdown, my cousin and I both were actually doing a session on our games and stick making, and I got this message from my sister, and my mom they had found, I guess, in a lot of her materials, some writings, and she shared with us, and my sister and my brothers were all kind of like on the line on the phone, and I says, kind of texting back, messaging back forth to one another. But what she shared with us was an important kind of message, and we hadn't seen it before. And my mom liked to write. My mom liked to dance. My mom liked golfing, like I say, and movement. And then that's movement. I remember, I said, as a kid, I says, even dancing with my mom, and she'd pull you up, and she liked listening to different songs. She loved Ray Charles. She loved listening to Bob Seger, and that's that movement, right? That's that expression. That's that creative expression. I think that's always been ingrained in us, like it says, and I think that's the part. As in, my mom even loved bowling, right? I look at the house, and she saved a lot of I guess of the things I said that meant a lot to us as kids. Like you say, we all played different games. Like my sister would play volleyball, she played ball, she played fastball. My other brothers played football, we played hockey, we played lacrosse, we played a number of different activities, and even played ball together as family with my friends and cousins. So, and that's just starting like from little, getting older and older, and I see that. I see that even in our kids today. I see that in my kids today. I says they're very active in terms of what they do it, but I also see that getting that from my father and my mother. It says my Haudenosaunee and Gonoh, because I think that's really what they impressed upon me. I says was that willingness to go out and do what you love to do, and that goes even right back to the teachings of our games, right? It says that game that we play, that they want on Gajikwa. It says when we play it, I says how do you want to guess in the springtime? Like I say, it's bringing us back to who we are. It's connecting. It says it's connecting. It says in the heavens up above. It says how gay hanyan gray. I says with the Wednesday. I says the people that who we are, and I says and when we play it, it's that connection point I think that we have, and I think that's really what I remember a lot. It says about me growing up in my formative years. It kind of goes back to like when I was 3 and 4, getting my first stick, really. And it says and what it did for me, and as my dad was mentioning to me, he says it's no wonder that you do what you do right now. He says because that's just been part of you. It's part of your journey. It's been something that you'll continue to do, and you have to realize this is that you're doing it for a reason. You're doing it, it says, to create a better understanding not only of yourself but help others. It says to understand the importance of movement, doing something that you love to do, and that's what one thing we always try to instill. I says I think in our kids and in our grandkids and people in general is that activity. I'm sitting downstairs. I was kind of chuckling with Sherry and Karen earlier. It says about and I'm in my office. It's on kind of the other side over here. Then behind me is my punching bag, and got my weights behind me. And it says you got everything that kind of like means significant to me. It says in my life is down in this basement here. My office, sort of like home office, kind of home gym equipment. I says right now, because that's where we're at in the world. I says, but we never forget, I think, things that were most important to us, and I think that's what I want to be able to share you is that this game, like I say, it allows you to move. It's who we are. It's entrenched to who we are as Ongwehome, Haudenosaunee people, and everyone has their own games. Like you say, the Anishinaabe is to have their game of Gataway. It says their own stickball game. You have the Choctaw who have their own beautiful games. Like I say, of the two stick game. You have the Seminoles who have their own game. You have the Yurok Nation. It says out of California, the West Coast, they play their game. Like I say, their kind of stickball game. Like we have a game that we call like a double ball. It says double ball leather. It says goes on here. We shoot it. Just basically mimics the biomechanics of current day kind of lacrosse. It says, but when the Yurok tribal nation, when they play their games, they actually play it. Yeah, they play it actually on the. I'm going to move a little bit here. I says because that's who I am. I says, but the aspect of it is they actually play it. They play it on the beach, and they move it along on a different plane than we do, where we're up here kind of passing and throwing it and catching and running with it in terms of the double ball. They actually play down here, and again, that's the importance of that movement. I did a session yesterday for some individuals, and we were talking about the I think the different games and what you learn from one another. And I think that's I think the aspect to me is that we're always trying to move all the time. Everything that we play, it was important for me is to grow and learn and share as an individual. And that's why now I can't travel around so much, so I have to kind of do this and modify and adapt to kind of be flexible to getting people to understand the importance of keeping our bodies in motion, keeping our bodies in check. But to me, ultimately, it comes down to that. I think that reconnection that we have with one another, and during kind of like a world pandemic, I think it's important. I says that we all continue to do that. We continue to. I says say as I tell my daughter all the time, if she asks for something, she says say Deskida. She says and then she'll say Nyawa, and then she'll say all those good little things. I says that sometimes we sometimes forget. I says and doing little things like opening doors for people or calling out and reaching out and trying to connect with people who may be struggling. And there are a lot of people who are struggling. I can say that from my own kind of journey as well. Like like in life as well, like I say, and I think that's the aspect of that reconnection point and coming back to things that fill your heart, that fill your spirit, I think, with beautiful ways, and then to me, that's that grounding I think that I have within myself. It's my understanding that I have as a person. It's my understanding that I have as a father, and the responsibility to continue to share that and continue to make sure that people understand this is that everything that was gifted to you was gifted to you for a reason, and everything that I continue to play was played for a reason. I remember my mom saying quite often to us when we were kids, it was like, go outside and play, right? Go outside and play. And I see that in my daughter. I see that in my son. I see that probably even more so in my daughter now, because son, he's kind of indoors, traveling around, doing what he's doing. I says, but with my daughter, she totally loves and gravitates to that concept of play and how important it is. Not only how important it is in terms of an individual, but how important it is to her in terms of her growth, her connection point with her friends, her cousins, her family, her mom, her dad, and the animals that she looks after as well. Like I say, I have a little kind of hobby farm, chicken farm on site as well, and they said that's that aspect. They said she has little puppy dogs as well, but they're all just like playing, right? They're always moving, and I think that's the part I said that we come to understand. I think about ourselves is that the connecting back to what makes us happy, to what makes us smile, what brings us joy, what gives us meaning in life. And I remember when we were I'm going to share a little story with you. I'm going to adjust my seat here. It fell down, so just bear with me for a sec. When we lived out we lived in the Stalo territory as a family. It says and there are people of the river. I remember one time I says we lived in communities. I says that surrounded like the city of Chilliwack, and we always went over to this small community called Squeala, and Squeala was is small. It says, but they're large in terms of what they do, and in terms of their movement. They're very industrious. Like I said, they built a brand new facility when we were there, like a brand new gymnasium, a brand new longhouse, because they're very industrious. They have that passion, they have that vision. But what we seen there and what I seen there was all of that. The small community of about 200 who are always active. They're always doing something. They're out on the river. It says fishing, catching salmon. They're out in the bush. They're playing their games. And one time, son and I, we were in the community. We were at the rec center, and it was a smaller one before the big one got built. And I ran into this elderly fella. I'll say he's a knowledge keeper. I says, but he came to us. He came to me, and he was talking about the games that we were showing him. And I showed him. I said some of the games that we play, some of the double ball games that we play. That's kind of like universal in nature. I said to everybody. I says, but he was wondering. He says about some of these games and some of the reasons that why we're playing. And I said, it's medicine. It's a medicine. I says movement is medicine. It's a healing. It helps us. I says it helps me. I says it helps kids. It helps youth. It helps our population. It helps who we are. And I said it's that connection. It's just like that journey. I says when Sky Woman kind of fell from the sky, I said she clutched in her hand. I says a number of different seeds. I says that were used to sustain ourselves. That were sustain ourselves for thousands and thousands of years. I says, and it says that just sow that strawberry. It says that she grabbed. It says that the seed for the strawberry. Then when you're going home, I laid some tobacco down this morning as well. I says because I'm gonna be traveling after this session as well. I says just to make sure. I says I'm doing things in a good way and the right way and saying all the things I need to say. I says and the corns and the bean, the squash. It says that sustain us and that's still part of a staple of our diet. I says, but as I was talking to this older gentleman, he was tearing up, and I was asking him what's going on. And he says, and I was telling him this is about the games. This is that we play and the medicine that's in it. And even when, like you say, that when we play to honor and return the thunders to us, this is what helps nourish. This is cleanse. I says I says regenerates. I says Wednesday, mother the earth. He says I don't. He says I've never really understood the games in that way before. And he thanked me. He says for it. And as we were talking, I mentioned to him. I said some of those games. This is that movement because what I seen. We were like in a small kind of a gymnasium, like a community hall. We'd go outside. And what I would see with those kids, and when we played different games. We played bubble ball, like I say. We play for like modern day contemporary lacrosse. I'd show them some of the old sticks. I'd show them some of the old the leather ball kind of things. I'd show them different kind of games, different games that we play, like long ball. It says when you hit it and you run, it's sort of like the precursor to modern day kind of baseball, but it was totally different. It's totally different in the structure. And one thing he noticed, and one thing he said, he says I look at all my kids here, and some of his grandkids were there. He says, he noticed one thing, and I says, what do you notice, sir? He says, it's awesome because he says they're all doing what I'm doing right now, but trying to hold back the tears. He says, woo! He says they're all smiling. He says they're all smiling, and he says, and he got a tear in his eye, and he teared me up because he remembered games that he played. He remembered his community, the Lower Nation, playing the games that they played along the river in the songs, and the dances, and everything that kept their bodies healthy and they moved. And he says that's the aspect. He says that keeps us going. He says each and every day. He says is having that understanding. He says of what the deeper meaning and connection is to all these games that we play. He says and he says keep on doing what you're doing. He says because it's gonna make a difference. And I think that's the part that I get so wound up about this because I know that how significant it's been in my life. It's been significant in my life about of a play and understand the importance of it, but understand the medicine and the healing that's within all of our games and that movement that we have. I said, which keeps our bodies strong. It says, I look at our bodies. It says, as again, we are people of the earth. It says, as of connection to Mother Earth. I says, and then even in the medicine, I says that we do have that medicine is always in it's in the ball, right? That medicine is in that ball. It says, and that medicine is in that stick. But it says, but that medicine is actually within all of us. It's within all of us to really like reignite our passions and what's significant in our lives. I says, and understanding that that our bodies are meant to move. Our bodies aren't meant to sit around all day. Our bodies are meant to go out and do the things that we need to help nurture what's in our heart, what's in our gut, what's in our spirit, like you say. And I think that's important. That's the beauty of what these games have done for me. Like I can look at I can look at everything that's been gifted to us, like you say, as part of our games, how it connects me. I says how it connects me to not only the sky world, but how it connects me as well to things that are here on Mother Earth. I says, but also how it connects me to my grandfather, how it connects me to my mother, how it connects me to my father, to my brother. I says to my nephews, to my nieces, to my children. And I think that's something I says that we often get lost in this sort of like technology world that we're in. I says that we have everything within us right now. I says change and make a difference. I says, and that just starts with your basic kind of movements. I says that just starts with your basic understanding. I says of who you are and to do what you have to do. And then if you're in a small place or if you're in a small apartment, if you don't have access to here and there, just getting up and stretching, like I say, the importance of stretching or doing some yoga, or if you got to do what we got to do and we play our games and go, oh, like I say, it's that connection point. I think that you have. I said, there's something that's in here, that's in your heart. It's intrinsic to who we are. And if you need to take the time, I need to do right now to have a drink of Oniganos, like it says, because our bodies are 70% water, and so we gotta also drink all of this all the time to make sure that we're nourishing ourselves, we're nourishing our soul. And I think that's the importance of those games that we play. I kind of look over, I got my little snow snake, my little mud kite in my hand, but again, we don't get too much snow down here anymore. I says, but a lot of the guys who play long snake and who play the short snake game, I says, are a kind of challenge right now, because without no snow, it's hard to play this kind of game, right? And so, but as I look over here at, I guess, what's on the wall, I says, I look at the connection, I guess, says to who we are, right? It starts with our languages, our identity. That's just who we are, from our games to the lands that we're on, the ceremonies, songs, the dances that we play, right? That you say, and you can sit there and I can even sit this and look at my house sometimes here. If my kids are around, it's awesome. If I'm here alone, it's awesome. I says, if you're here with extended family, it's awesome. I says, but the big thing is you have that time to there's a connection point when, and that, I think that's that point. It says where we jam some of our earth songs, right? And ho ya ne ho ya ne ho ya ne ho ya ne, and that's the thing. It's important. I said to keep sharing and understanding. I says what connects you, because when you start that, and I always remember listening to my dad sing gayola, like when I was young, and I still love listening to him and sing that, and it brings a tear to my eye. But it brings a tear to my eye, but it actually warms my heart, because I know when he sings with so much passion, right? He says when he does gayola, way hana yunge, way hana yunge, way hana yung, and that's, and then when you hear that, all you can do is move. Can't, because it's in here. It's in your spirit. It's in what connects you. It connects you to that. Even I was sharing this is with some of my amazing friends. I says in the place that I have here. I says in our house, in our home. I says I'll jam. I'll grab my rattle sometimes, but then sometimes I'll just put on some of the CDs of some of the most beautiful singers that you'll ever hear in this world. It says, and it doesn't matter if you're Anishinaabe, if you're Haudenosaunee, if you're Mushkegowuk, if you're Seminole, if you're Creek, if you're Dene, it says if you're Inuk. I says we all have beautiful songs. We all have beautiful dances, and I think that's the importance. I says of connecting. I said something that allows us to move and when I hear, like you say, hear those songs, you hear Gayola, or you hear Gadatro, or you hear Smoke Dance. It says you just want to move. And like I say, I have no problem even just sometimes just throwing on my CD and I want to jam out, I want to step out. I'll do that. Like I say, but that's just intrinsic to who I am, because it feeds my soul. It nourishes me. It replenishes me. Just like I had to have a drink of water a little while ago, because I know, like I say, in sports a lot of my life, and have that understanding. It's important because it nourishes you, it replenishes you, it helps ground you, it helps bring you back to who we are. It says, and I think that's just the aspect. It's that importance, because it's that importance of really connecting with your being. And I look again at my wall over here. I look at all of our communities. I look at Turtle Island as a whole. It says we're all given that. All of us were given that. Like it says, that responsibility to share with one another, to understand like who we are as people. Like growing up here on Grand River territory, I seen a lot. I seen a lot in my lifetime. I seen things that things aren't good, but some things are awesome. Some things are great. Some things are wonderful. I said some things you question. I said what's going on in the overall scheme of things, but you always got to come back to what's in your spirit and what's in your heart and what's in your gut, because I think that's what reconnects you. That's what reconnects us with our ancestors, and it reconnects us with everything that is important. And I always say this: do the things in your life that gives you joy and meaning. And I say that wholeheartedly, because you're gonna struggle. People are gonna struggle sometimes. I know I've struggled. I said, but one thing that always had helped me is coming back to that roots. Right? You just look at like a tree, or you look at a Gonoh, you look at the house, you look at that structure in itself. Is that where is it at that strongest base? That strongest base is at the roots. You look at a house, it says you build that foundation to be able to support. You build the walls, it says to add some more strength. It says you build the rafters. It says to actually make sure that it says that that's going to protect you. And it says, and that's the important part as well. It says because it can protect you from the elements, and that's what we got to do as people. We got to look at things that it says that protect us, that ground us. Like you say, house is not built from the rafters down; it's built from the ground up. And just like we are, this is that connection that we have. I was out hiking yesterday with a couple of my amazing friends, and we were out along the Grand River. This is on a trail that I don't go to too often. It's kind of near Caledonia. It says it's a smaller kind of trail. It says, but it was getting outside, and you look at it. I like well, Gonoh. I says that snow, right? It says that snow that's here, and today it's a little bit Otowe, which means it's cold. It says, but it's not really cold because I've lived in the north where it's like minus 35, minus 40 up there. It says, but the big thing about it is that on that little journey, I said that little hike that we went on, and I tried to do this as much as possible, 2 to 3 4 times a week, getting outside and reconnecting. It says going on a walk and walk and talk. I'll say if there's somebody who's there, yeah, we're in sort of like the times where people will say, but you know what, you got to do things that nurture your soul. You got to do things that keep you active, that keep you away out of here, right? This is where the mind can play so many different tricks on you, and I think that's and I think that's that aspect of being able to do something on a daily kind of basis that keeps you active, that keeps you moving, and even in the chair you can do things like I say. You can do things. You can do kind of stretches. You can reach as high as the sky. Like I said, there's all kinds of little aspects that you can do for yourselves as well. It says you go this way, you go that way. The importance of breath, right? Like even just going outside in the morning, like say, and stepping outside, even if you're on a balcony, if you're in an apartment, or if you're in a house, this is that may not connect sort of like the woods or the bush or that I call it. It says, and taking it all in. You're taking it all in, and just in that moment, for me, just to do that, like the 3 breaths of life, I said that um, are blown into us when we come here. It says it grounds you, and I get excited when I talk, and so when I do that, it just slows me right down, but that's what I recognize about me. Because I see the importance of being active and being in motion all the time, and those games that we play were an important part of it. I also love the fact it says that I'm going to grab my other kind of stick here as well. Is that my daughter loves this, right? My daughter loves the. You can see it. It says I'm not sure if you can see it or not. It says, but it's her hockey stick, right? It's her hockey stick. And my daughter loves to play hockey. Even that picture that I showed you kind of earlier, she totally loves that game, right? She totally loves that game, and I think that's the aspect where I see it. I mentioned it earlier. I says the aspect that she has, I think, from me is knowing that importance of play and that importance of being in movement, and everything that you do is beautiful. We're all beautiful people, and I think that's something that you got to understand. That like it says when you get up and you get up every day. You get up for a reason, like I say, because Sagwayadiso has given you another day. You see another sunrise. You see something I said that is that's that that connects you, and that strong connection. I look at my son. I look at my awesome, amazing son here as well. He's like a 6'4" tall kid, but he played lacrosse initially, but he enjoyed it. He gravitated afterward when we come back from BC. When we come back to Nations, he gravitated to basketball, the things that he loved to do, and when we were living out in BC, I would take him to some of the camps out there, also teaching him. I said the importance of not only being a righty all the time, but being a lefty, because we lived in our house. Yeah, it was in Stalo territory, but we lived in town close to the Home communities. It says, but we had a basketball court right in front of our house, which is awesome because I love basketball. So we would go out there and we'd go play all the time. Like I think we were the family in the neighborhood that would, again, like if you look kind of back at me back here, you'll see my punching bag. We had a punching bag there. This is I had all kinds of lacrosse sticks. I had a football. I had a basketball. I had a soccer ball. And soccer is huge, like in the West, like I say, with my Western brothers and sisters. It's a huge game. And then but when we played basketball, we'd go out there and we'd have all the kids out there playing. And that's something I said that I see in myself, but I also see more importantly in my son. Even now, my daughter, like my daughter's 9 now, I can also see her playing that game because she watched her brother play. When we travel around to communities, indigenous communities, would go to tournaments, would play in would go down to Arizona, take some of the kids down there to give them an experience. Would travel with these AAA kind of program to go down and play in Pittsburgh with 5,000 other hoopsters from all across North America. It was fascinating. It was just amazing to see that. It says, but that's what they love to do, right? It says those games that we play. It says, and I think the other part too is that what I've seen and what I continue to see even within my family this day is reconnecting because we have different games like within our family, like you say, and the games that were given to us, like even when it's ceremony time, it's a great peach bowl game. I said, but even at the house when we kind of play our little kind of like little dice games, I said I see what it does to us. I see the importance when we're sitting there playing games, and we're not playing for money or anything like that. We're playing because we're playing. It's our responsibility to make sure that we continue to play that. And like I say, then when we're playing for these little what's I hate the beans, it says that go into that game. It says as well, it's just part of upstairs. Like I say, we upstairs at the house will play this game, and a lot of people say, "Well, I haven't played this game," or say, "I've never ever seen this game before." And I said, but it's all part of who we are. I says, and I have to share this with you because I think I see what it does to you, and I seen that when my mother passed away on November 5th. That's one of the things that we did is we played the games, right? We played some of those games, but what I seen, which I think helped us a lot, I said in that transformation, that life transformation, is that everyone's moving. I said the women have a responsibility, the men have a responsibility. It says, yeah, we're in that time. It says where we need to give to her to help my mom on her journey. It says, but in some of those games that we played, it says, and was awesome because as we played some of those games here, it was important. It was important for us to reconnect as a family. I says to help to be there for one another, to help be so supportive of one another. And I think that's and what I noticed and my brothers, my sister, and our family, and my nephews and nieces are around. Since my dad was so phenomenal in being a caregiver and a husband and a partner to my mom when she was going through her rough journey. That's what I admire about that so much. But I said, well, when we were playing those games, it was awesome because, like I said, you sit there and you sit there and then you get loud and because even though we say it's not for competition, in a way it kind of is too, because it's just like we're challenging ourselves, but that challenge is kind of within because you're playing against everybody else. It says, but I just remember is my dad just laughing, right? Like it's like those big hearty like belly laughs. Like it says, and that's part of that movement, right? That's that part of that expression. That's part of when you're throwing like that as well, right? He'd always grab it like that, and he'd throw and he'd say little things. But one of the things that I seen from him that I hadn't seen in a long time was his energy, that Gonoh, that connection, that reconnection, because he smiled. All he was doing was smiling. He was smiling that Gionte, and he was laughing, and he was sharing, and he was enjoying, and he was enjoying, even though in that transition of life, it says, I think we were feeling, but also that expression that we played in the movements and the things that we were doing to help support one another came out so glaringly evident, even in my dad, like I say, and it was awesome. It was just awesome to hear him share that, and we even play these games now, like you say, like even this time, like you say, where we go sit down, or I go sit down, or I had a bench made out of a pine tree here at my house. It's like a great big 3.5 by 7 foot kind of table, and we play the games. We'll lay the wampa blanket kind of down there, invite kind of people over, and like you say, trying to stay within healthy parameters of COVID and so on and so forth. We kind of chuckle at that sometimes, but it's believing in what you believe in, right? And that's the big thing for me too, is that those games are there for a reason. Everything that much like that movement is medicine. Movement is medicine for me, and it's just like medicine for the people who play it. Like the guys who can't play snake right now, they're probably feeling a little bit sad. This is because they're gonna have to move around, and because of what's going on in this world. This is it's like it says hopefully it says we can find ways. It says to keep all these kind of games alive. This is, and that's the pressure that we have when you have people saying, well, you got to stay in your house, you got to do this. But you know what? We got to do things that nourish our soul. We got to do things that feed us, that feed our soul, that give us passion, that excite us, that give us that joy, give us that meaning. And I think that's what the importance is of that movement, like you say, because it's always been something. It's been something that Seguya Diso give to us. Like I say, it's part of our teachings. And again, I say this in reference to everybody out there. I'm Haudenosaunee. I says, but my kids are also Mushkegowuk. I said, and so we kind of blend those beautiful aspects of the beautiful aspect. I says of their mom and her kind and beautiful and spirit. I says with the passion. I says of who I am as an individual as well as a Ongwe Homi Haudenosaunee person. And again, that's that aspect. It says where the kids are going to connect. They're going to connect. I said to something, but we always stress them to them, just like we had to do the importance of getting outside and doing something. Like in the north, you got to go outside. You got to cut wood. It says, and you got to prepare. You got to be out there. You got to be active. And just like when you're here, you plant those seeds. I said, and put the water. Give your time, attention, and care and understanding your own body, your own spirit. Feed that, because what you're feeding, I says, is not only yourself and your love for yourself. You're feeding that next generation, just like those plants and those seeds that you nurture. Work with them, you cultivate them, you share some of those seed songs, you lay it down, and you know what? You're gonna watch. If you put that time and intention to your garden's just gonna grow so phenomenally. And it's just like the time and intention that you put into your own body to energize your own spirit. To do the things that you love to do, and that's what you're gonna get out of it, like you say. And I see that. I seen that in all the different games that we play. It's been awesome, and like it's been awesome, like just seeing that. And I'm a strong advocate of getting involved, staying active, following your highest excitement, doing the things that you love to do, the things that connect you, your spirit, the things that connect you to who you are as a person. And again, it doesn't matter if what nation that you're from. It doesn't matter. It says what you belong to. It says what matters is that you connect with what's in here, what's in your heart, what's in your spirit, what's in your gut, and do those things that you love to do on a daily basis, and that gives you pure joy and music and movement. And I think that's the aspect that kind of gets lost in all of this, because people will say to me sometimes, they say, well, I can't do this or I can't do that. And they'll say, why? See, because just by saying that, I says you're already putting yourself in sort of that up here. You're putting yourself, I says, in the aspect and saying, yeah, there's things going around, but you know what? You can still step outside. You can still go for a walk. You can do a walk and talk. You can even pick up the phone and talk to one of your friends, like I say, yeah, that you may be hesitant about calling for a long while. And it's the importance of staying connected. It's maybe the importance of getting on your phone, messaging somebody that you haven't talked to in a while, or who you need to talk to. Because, and again, if you're scared about it, start taking those deep breaths. The breaths that you take about it, like I say, and it's really everything that we need to do is given to us. It's all here. It's all here. I says as people, and I think that's the lessons that I've learned from my mom. And I want to share a story with you. Another story, we'll say. I've been sharing quite a bit. I says, but in that poem, I says, in that aspect, it says when I was actually facilitating with my cousin Bo, and we were sharing some of the games and lacrosse stick and some of the teachings that go along with it. I was reminded, I said, of the memoir. I says that my mom wrote about us as kids, right? I says my two other brothers and my sister. And she called it the four seasons because we were all born in a different aspect. This is of the cycle of life here, and in the stuff that she wrote, it says she, I think, and I say this in full honesty and full truism, that she totally knew who we are. She totally knew what excited us. She totally knew what filled our hearts with passion. She totally knew what we love to do. She totally knew what we were excited about. And in that passage that she wrote about four seasons, um, when I remember when my sister was sending that to us, and she says it's like a tearjerker, right? Because sometimes you don't think that people are listening. Sometimes you think you're all alone, but you're never alone. And I think that's the beauty of that connection point. I says that's the beauty of getting up and doing something that fills your heart and soul. Because my mom, when she was writing about me, and we never seen this before, like I say, after 50 plus years, I said nobody's seen this. Like it says and we never seen it. And my mom wrote this awesome memoir about who we are as kids, and she described me to a T. It was like amazing. Like I say, all the things that I love to do, and all the things I said that filled me with passion. Like I say, this game here of 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 lacrosse, this game of hockey, right? It says this game of it's back over here. It says of basketball, but then this games at the football. It says the golf, but she knew it. She knew it, and even I looked at it. It's just like let's. She had a way of communicating, just sort of like Bell Talks wants you to sort of like do that and express yourself and get out there to make sure that you're connecting with those others. I think that's the way that she's seen us, right? Because she connected with us, and she connected with us. It didn't always have to be sort of like from that physical presence. She connected with us just by observing who we are, and I think we all do that. We do that with our kids. We can do that with our we do that with one another. We do that with our cousins. We do that with their family. It's that power of observing. It's that power of listening, because she listened to us. She listened to what was in her heart. She listened to the aspect that we're never alone, and we may be alone physically, but all those ancestors are always feeding us with something that's going to bring you back to your root. It's going to bring back to I'm kind of learning a little bit about chakras and understanding of my body. I think in a different realm other than sort of like physical. That's always been that for me. I said, so it's really helped me on my journey as well. I said, to help me understanding what grounds me and what excites me. But getting kind of back to that story about my mom, is just that she intrinsically knew who we are, and I think that journey that we were going to follow. And she said, and I remember what she said. She says, Kev, she says, continue to play as hard and work as hard as you do, and the things that you enjoy, and continue to study hard and do the things that you enjoy. And I hope that all of your dreams come true, right? Like I say, and I look back at that now, and I look back at sort of like my journey and what I've done and what I'll continue to do. And I go back to that because I look around my house, and I look at all the things that are true and dear to me. I says, along with my kids, my family. I says, people who are in my life, significant people are in my life and who've gone out of my life. I said, they're all there for reasons. They're all there for reasons. She's still sharing those amazing, beautiful messages and still watching over us, right? It's that connection. It's that connection point that she still has. And it's that connection point that everybody has, like it says, and it's just us getting to that sort of understanding that there's bigger things going on around, like I say, here on a Wednesday. I says, but they're gonna fill your soul with so many beautiful, beautiful parts, and I think that's the aspect for me. I said that was really important. It's those teachings, right? It's those teachings like that were given to us. Like it says, those teachings I said that are on my wall here that I'm gonna continue to share as to who I am. I says because it's part of my responsibility. Because I think a lot of these games, people look at it in a different way. Some people will say, well, it's just a sport. I says, but you know what? Until you actually truly understand, until you truly understand it, or until you have played it, you won't really say that, because it can make a difference. It's made a difference in my life. I know it's going to make a difference in people's life. The games that we continue to play and honor and respect, and communicate and share, it's going to help us learn. It's going to create a better understanding about one another. And that's what we're doing here. Even today, we're creating a dialogue. Yeah, I can't be in front of people, because if I was in front of you all, I'll have you up, I'll have you moving, I'll have you laughing, I'll have you dancing. I'll throw on a Stevie Ray Vaughan song, I'll throw on a smoke dance song. I said, we'll jam out. I said, but that's that aspect, right, of being excited about what you do. I says, because that's what we do. We do that to honor ourselves, to honor the journey that we're on, to create that better understanding and connection point, because we're all here for reasons. We're all here for beautiful, beautiful reasons. And if we can inspire and empower the next generation of amazing leaders, I look at my nephews, I look at my nieces, I look at my son, I look at my daughter. I think they're the ones who are going to really change things, because they see things in a totally different lens. They're amazing. I think about even my little nephew. He's not so little. I says about my nephew Howie. He's a thinker, right? And he's a thinker, and but the kid's so smart, and then he's always doing something all the time. And that's what I see with a lot of my family. Like I say, nephews and nieces were always, and I think that's the aspect. We always want to try to encourage them to get outside and play, just like my mom and dad said to me when we were growing up, and what I say to my kids and nephews and nieces: let's go outside and play. And we don't know what the game's going to be. We don't know what the activity is. It could be going for a walk back to the bush. It could be going for a walk back to the creek. It could be going reconnecting. It could be going to grab some hickory nuts. It could be going to play a game of lacrosse. It could be going to play a modified game of football. It says it could be going for a walk. It could be going for a canoe. It could be going for a hike. It could be going out and hitting golf balls. I said to one another. I said, we don't know. Like I said, we could play double ball. I said we could play long ball. I said we could play baseball. We could play whatever fills your soul. I said you could just sit there and talk. You just sit there and talk and listen to one another. It says, and reach out. I think that's the importance of reaching out is that reconnection. It says it's reconnection to recognizing who you are. Stay in that present moment. Like I say, respect what's gone on in the past, but we're here to move forward. We're here to inspire and empower those future generations. You're here to inspire and empower yourself. That's what we're here for. Like I say, because that's what Guayadiso wants us to do. Guayadiso wants us to be the best version of ourselves day in and day out. And that's who we are. And that's who we are. And I think even I look at some of the exciting aspects of my life, the exciting aspects of what grounds me. It's almost like you intrinsically know when you need to talk to somebody. Just know, and you put it out there, and this happens so often, and it's so wonderful, because next thing you know, that person is reaching out to you. Could be via text, could be via message, could be via phone, could be via messenger, and say, you know what, I was just thinking about you. And boom, happens for a reason, right? Everything happens for a reason. And I think that's the importance, I says, of movement. That's the importance of that understanding. It's that importance of self-awareness that you have. It's that self-awareness that you have about what invigorates your spirit, what gives you meaning. I like to read, like even in my I like to read. I read a lot. I says I read like some of old Jake Thomas's stories. I read of even some current authors, like a guy I went to school with, Rick Mentor, who's now a professor, and I read some of the stuff that come from Hoyani, Irving Paulus from Onondaga, or other people. Like even I'm reading a book now called Beyond Fear as well. It says, and then I'll read and put down and read another book. I read this awesome, amazing book. It says by a lacrosse player here. It says who's making a difference in people's lives. Delby Paulus Jr. because it's part of his journey, part of the struggles and pain that he had, but how he overcome what he overcame in his life as well. It says, and we've all gone through that. But really, what it comes down to the root of is your understanding of your own self. It says, and I've been through pain. Like I said, I felt it. I felt I felt all of that. I says, when I've been through some struggles, I've been in ego also as well, playing some of these sports and some of these games. And after a while, you kind of wonder, right? You kind of wonder, saying, well, why the heck was I like that? All I'm doing is playing something. It isn't, why do I have to be that way? And you don't. Like I say, you be humble, you be kind, you be respectful, you do what you got to do. I says, for you. I says, and what drives you and what gives you that difference. And it's something, I said, that surround yourself with positive people. You surround yourself with all those things, those activities, those little things that you do, whether it's movement or whether it's song, whether it's dance, whether it's sport, whether it's, I look over here, I says, down here, I look at the paintings, it says that my daughter that my daughter has done. I look at, I said, the different things that she'll do to do her hair and all that sort of stuff, and the funky things that they do. But that's, again, creative expression, right? Say creative expression comes in so much way, but it's also movement, because you're working with all your senses. Again, your sight, sound, feel, touch, all of that is moving together. It says, and that's the aspect of what I mentioned before, is when you're younger, a lot of those formal lessons that you learn happen in those 5, 6, 7 years of life, and you don't really realize until you're much older. It says how important they were, how important they connected you or disconnected you, maybe from your brother, your sister, your parent, your stepfather, your stepmother, your caregiver, whatever way, or maybe even some of the pain that you struggled along the way. But we have the power to change that. We all do. That's the gifts that we have. We have the power to make that difference. We have the power, it says, to reach out and touch somebody. It says, and sometimes it's a hug. Sometimes it's just coming to the understanding. It says that everything that we do is for a reason. Like even some of the games they say that I shared here with you were really important to my life. It says, and they even define me. It say many years later, it says I'm still playing some of these games. I can't play hockey as much as I love to anymore because the ACL and MCL that I have, that still kind of tricks me. I says once in a while, I says I'm sitting here kind of with a little bandage on my tensor, I says, on my ACL to keep it more stabilized right now. It's just because I'm gonna probably have to get that looked after. But I said the aspect, I understand it. I understand. I says that those games that we play is all about being positive, being understanding who you are, understanding that we all may go through pain, we all may go through struggle, but you're going to make a difference. You're going to make your difference. You're going to look yourself in the mirror and say, you know what? Gonoh, Gonoh, Gonoh. You're doing wonderful, beautiful things. Give yourself a high five. It says, give yourself, I said, something that you need to do, I said, for yourself, that's going to connect you to your being, that's going to connect you to what your gut tells you. And no, don't ever ignore that. Don't ever ignore that. It says, and I think that's the beauty of life. It says that we all have. It says, what connects us? What connects you to that next person? But what allows you to get up off the seat and get moving and doing something for you? And I think that's the most important lesson I want to say in sort of like this is understand that we all have it within ourselves. Movement is medicine. Movement connects us to ourselves, connects us to our heart, connects us to what's in our gut, connects us to our spirit. And I know that. I know that as an individual. I know that even in the journey that I'm on and sharing this with significant people in my life, I know it's for a greater good. I know that. It's just like it's that aspect of Gonoh. I keep saying that Gonoh and that Ganagrio. I says that the good mind. It says that good mind. It says that Satra. So if you know someone's hurting, reach out to them. Give them that strength. It says give them that support. Give them that caring that they need in their lives. And I see it. I've seen it. Like I say, in so many different ways, shapes, and forms. And I see it even in some of the young males. I says the male population as well, who tend to be kind of stoic sometimes. I can say that because I can relate to that. I can relate to that, where we don't want to make ourselves feel vulnerable. We don't want to do this because we think that, well, it's less. But you know what? It's actually more. It's not less. It's more. Like I says, and keeping things simple and keeping things on that equal kind of that thing that excites me is finding your highest excitement, and it comes in many different ways, shapes, or form. Even this year, even this year, like you say, because of what's gone on in this world, I've been on the water, I think, more than I have ever been in my life. Like I said, and whether it was swimming, whether it was going down with the kids, it says down in the water, kayaking, or whether we went out and went out as a family. I says of friends, I says, and of close friends that I have, and going out on the water to go and do some sea doing, or I've got like four or five kayaks, because I also know that connection point for me, and that reconnection point for me, that is was on the water, like you say, and just because how it invigorates you, and really how it nourishes you, and I think that was the aspect for me. I says I've rediscovered, I think, in my journey, I says the passion that I had in for the game. I says it's not a traditional game by nature, but it goes way back. I says to Scotland, and then when people were playing that four-letter word, that game of golf, right? It says I hadn't played a lot. But I still love to play. And this year, I got to the point where a lot of things were happening in my life, like it says, and a lot of struggles I was kind of going through, my own kind of personal demons. I says I had separated from my wife. It says, and there was so many things that have gone on. I said, but the big thing about it, what happened to me, was the aspect of rediscovering who I was, rediscovering what filled my life with passion and joy. And some of those games that I had mentioned earlier did that. They helped me. But also, I was rediscovering things that filled my heart with soul, the things that filled my spirit. It says, and the things that kept me active and moving. And even it got to the point, it says this I had to get eye surgery right before my mom passed away, because of, I think there's so many things that were going on. Like I had cataracts, I had to do this, I had to do that. I couldn't even be on a computer. Like I say, you would have caught me for sort of like September, August, July, I was barely on a computer. I couldn't be, because it distorted my eyes, right? And I think that's the part of it. It was like it's becoming that individualist is that I was becoming, but I also was reconnecting with the things that filled my heart. Just like my mom said in that memoir, that Four Seasons, right? Those Four Seasons. It is so much like his dad in so many ways, but also so much different than his dad in so many ways. I says, and it's rediscovering things that fulfilled my life, and there's no better things that you can do in life than giving your time, your energy, and your passion to those people, places, and things that are so significant in your life. And that's what I rediscovered. I rediscovered that about myself as an individual. And it doesn't make, I think people say it makes you stronger. I says maybe it doesn't make you stronger physically, but it makes you stronger emotionally. It makes you stronger mentally, and it grounds you. Like I say, all the things that I know are dear and near to my heart and my life, I says, continue to ground me. They continue to fill my heart, and they always will. And we're at a time in life where, and I really truly believe this, is that the Ongwehome people that exist here, not only on Turtle Island, but all the 500 million people across this beautiful world of ours, are going to make a very beautiful and significant difference in terms of what's going on in life. Because I think that's just part of that teachings. That's part of that knowledge. It's part of that self-awareness. It's part of us acknowledging who we are as people. I says, and I can see it. I can see it happening. I can see it changing. I can see it. Even in my kids, and I can see it with other significant people in my life, but also doing some of the things that we do. We all have the power to make that difference, right? And we're going to continue. We're going to continue to change. We're going to continue to grow. We're going to continue to build. We're going to continue to nurture one another. But that all to me starts with one thing that we all have a challenge on doing, and I can say this myself, is communicating with one another. Find that way to communicate with someone who is important, or some person, something, some activity that you need to do, because that's actually what we're doing. It says we're challenged right now because of this digitally enabled world that we're kind of we live in. If all of a sudden something happened here, I went out and we're challenged, hey, what happened? It's just because of forces that happen, things, right? It's that communication, it's that one-to-one, it's that group work that you do that's really important, because that communication can happen, I think, even greater now, because we are in this digitally kind of enabled kind of world where we don't really have to go anywhere. If you really think about it, we still got to keep active. We still got to do the things that we got to do. I says, but we can. My younger cousin, who was in her 20s, reminded me about this last week. She says, you can reach a whole audience from the confines of your beautiful home. I says, or apartment, or wherever you live or wherever you're at. I says, just by being online, right? I says, but also saying that in some of the communities that we come from, I says, we're also digitally challenged as well because of bandwidth, because of this and that. I said, so we got to do, and we got to still find ways, right? To connect with one another and reconnect with somebody. And I think that's just the beauty of what we do. That's the beauty of what we do as people for one another. And I think, and I know, and it's not, I don't think, I says, I know we're doing it for bigger reasons. I know you're on your journey for a bigger reason. You have a dream, you have goals, you're going to get there. I know that, because you're going to put your heart and soul into what gives you joy and meaning. I know that. You're going to get up. You're going to start writing things down. I do this as a technique. I start writing things down. I have like all things on my wall, what I want to do. For like my kind of vision board, aside from the things that you get from your kids that say, I love you, Dad, so much, or things that you get from from significant others in your life and stuff like that. That also has meaning. But it's that visualization, I think, that really helps us get to where we want to go, because we need to get up and start moving. I said, now, not wait for it. Don't wait for anything to happen in your life. It's up to you to make that happen. It's up to you to want to make that change. It's up to you to want to make that difference. Just like I had to recognize, I think, within myself, I said, some of the things that impacted me in the way that I was, I had to make that change. And once you come to that understanding, then you're on this beautiful, beautiful journey in life, and where everything, just like what my brother reminded me of years ago, when I was just doing, going. I went in the hospital one time, and he says, and probably because of stress, because of anxiety, and he says, you wouldn't do anything for yourself. He says, and even though I thought I was, maybe I really wasn't. And he says, Kev, you gotta wake up and smell the roses, man. And that's my younger brother, and I still listen to that, because I can hear him saying that to me. And even when things get so frenetic, sometimes when we just gotta kind of slow down, do that breathing, take a sip of water, we're reconnecting. We're reawakening our senses. We're reawakening everything that's been given to us as a people. It's 11:11 now. It says, and I'm just thinking of my kids, and I'm thinking of a lot of significant people in my life, and that's awesome. That's amazing. And it's just coming to me, and it just dawned on me. It says that like I've been talking for almost like 40 minutes, maybe a little longer. It says actually a little longer than that. It says, but I want to kind of I want to stop there. I want to kind of open it up to some questions. Some people that may, if they can, maybe you want to share it on the screen or whatever. I'm open to sharing whatever fills your heart. Ask. Yep. Yeah.
We've had some wonderful comments, Kevin, in the chat, and some of them have been, a lady had mentioned that she misses playing Snow Snake, and a lot of people are mentioning that movement is medicine, and a lot of comments where that they're so connected to the outside, and that when they do go outside, that they feel a lot more calm when they come back in their house. There was you know, there's some things in here. I'll just read from some of the comments that were in here, because we can't take, unless people want to put a question in the chat, and then I can ask Kevin, because it's that interactive style. But somebody had said here too, the big difference between lonely and alone. Sometimes I'd be asked if I need company, and I'd sit by myself. I'd quietly sit and walk by myself, and that's okay. I'm okay. I choose positive thoughts. But we can sure sit around and talk and have that community. So, you know, it's very, very true. And here's some right here on there, you know, just awakening our senses. You know, awakening our senses right now is a privilege, you know, because we are having to stay at home. What do we do, right, in order to kind of awaken our own selves? And I think you've touched on an awful lot of it, as far as getting outside, the importance of those games to you, like, you know, and thank you so much too for, you know, those teachings that have been lost because of colonization, because of residential school. You know, these teachings are so important, because, you know, Justice Sinclair had said, like, we didn't get, our parents didn't get to know, and their grandparents and great-great-grandparents didn't get to know who they are, where they came from, and where they're going. And so you've really touched on an awful lot of those topics about who you are, where you're going, and it's always a movement, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a movement of where you're going, where you've come from, and, you know, and not let your past define who you are. That was the past. That was something that was there. Somebody had told me a long time ago, and especially when we are living in those kind of traumatic experiences, and, you know, that we became a practical psychologist when we were younger. And was one of those things that we had to do those things like that to save ourselves. But now that's an old story. We have a different story now as adults. We can make those choices, and making those choices for us and our well-being is just so important, Kevin. It's just, I'll find a few more comments that, you know, the people have said, you know, I love this, becoming, we are always becoming, we should never stop evolving, learning, moving forward. We will fall, we will misstep, but we must keep on moving forward always. The lessons learned, and apply them to our lives and how we conduct each other and ourselves. Key stuff, great learning. So, you know, so you've touched so many people. You know, we've got people from Saskatchewan, up north in Northern Ontario watching. You know, people probably, you know, we have no idea where this goes, because right, and we share it with an awful lot, you know, and it's Bell Talk Day, Bell Let's Talk Day, a day dedicated to breaking the stigma and spreading the word about mental health. And, you know, and you've hit it, everything right on, you know, that you're talking about your own mental health, your vulnerability of certain things, and when your parents and your grandparents were talking about some of those things, and it really resonated with you, and so you can totally tell how important those lessons are for you. You know, and somebody here says, nobody can take away your love. Keep your family strong. You know, so, you know, there's quite a few comments, Kevin. You'll be able to go back and watch the video later and see them yourself. But it has just been absolutely amazing. And I don't know if you want to. I was saying in the background, I said, like, you know, you're such a motivational speaker, and we need more of you in our communities. And we need you to go on the road to our youth to share these things. And wouldn't it be just wonderful to have that, you know, that synergy that Kevin Sandy and Tony Robbins are in the same room.
Awesome.
You know, so like, and it's amazing, because though, you know, those are all things we weren't taught either, right? Like, we weren't taught to be proud of ourselves and where our games come from and how strong our families are. And, you know, our families and our children are so important to us, and they're the closest thing that we've got to creation when they're born.
Oh yeah.
You know, and it's just amazing where, you know, society looks at us, that we don't care about our children, and that they, you know, they take our children away when they're born, and, you know, things like that, the horrific things that are still happening, and atrocities. But just to having this time with you for the last hour and a half to show that there's such strength in communities, such strength in our families. And when we know that we've done something, we take responsibility and we want to make it better.
Exactly. Yeah. I wholeheartedly agree. And I think about, like you say, the significant points in time in your life. This is where it's the things that give you joy, right? Like you say, and I share that, and I share that, like you say, with my daughter. I'll share that with my son. Like I think about the time that they were when they were born, and the time it says that they're being reborn. And I look at it, even my son, because my son, he's a kid of 19. He's going on 20, but what I seen, how he's grown and how he's matured, is into a young man. He's what I call a Buddha kid, right? He reads Buddha, and he says, "Dad, every day you're reborn." He says, "Every day that you're reborn." And you know what? And it's funny because it's those lessons that you learn. I said, from your kids. I says, are significant people in your life that you want to continue to share, right? And because you are, it says every time that you get to see a sunrise or a sunset, this is you're on your path, right? And sometimes your path you may take, sometimes you have to take both paths to discover what path you want to be on, right? And that's something I've learned in life as well. It says we're all going to make mistakes. That's just part of who we are, right? It says we beat ourselves up too much. And I can even say that from my own vantage point. It says, but the overall scheme of things, when I talk about that Gonoh, it says it's that deep caring. It says that you have for yourself and others. It says that, and it's, I said, people say it's love. I says, I think it goes more deeper than that 4-letter word of love. I says, that's the English kind of connotation to it. I says, but it goes back to connecting what's in here, what's in your heart and what's in your spirit and everything that keeps you strong and gives you that gut sutra. I says, to do anything that you want to do, you can do that. And then I think that's the important of understanding. I says, what drives you, what drives that spirit, right? That you say, you know what drives and some people will see it in a different way. Some people, I don't like that word. It's, that's fine. I said, that's your perspective. It's just like saying things they could say that where others will have a different perspective on one thing, but you respect that, you listen to that. And I think that's the being. Like we're all spirit beings, I think, and having this kind of like human experiences, as we're told. This is we're connected to what's here on Mother Earth, but we're also connected to what's going on in the heavens above. And I see that connection point with my games. Like I said, the games that we do and the games that we continue to play and the games that we continue to share with one another. And but it also is going back to that things that really make us happy, right? It says, and really that's what it makes us. Choose happiness. I did a little post this morning and shared that. It says, choose happiness, because that's really what it's doing, right? And because it's going to get to you where you want to go. And sure, we're all going to struggle along the way. I says, but we're never alone. We're never alone. We're always alone as we want ourselves to be. I says, and but we can't wallow in that. We can't wallow in that because there's bigger things for us to do. There's bigger things, I says, for us to do as people. And I think that's really what's so I think significant about it is that we're in this time and age right now. It says where we can stay connected. I chuckled when you said go on the road and do this and do that. I says I've been on the road quite often. I said, and right now I'm just kind of comfortable with being home right now. I was laughing about that when you're saying that. I says I spend a significant amount of time on my road. I says, and now I'm grateful that I'm home. And as I say that, like I said, I'm gonna go up on a journey to go see my kids. I says, but as I get off this call, I says to reconnect with them. I says, but that's the aspect. I says the family, right? That family connection. I says doing that and keeping that alive. It says, and even though we may be separated by 8 hours and so on and so forth, it says we're never truly separated because even in this digitally enabled world, we can still stay connected. I says it's just that aspect. I says of wanting to do what we need to do for ourselves to get us to where we're going, because we're still trying to do things in a good way, in a significant way. And I think that's the sharing. It says I'm gonna jam songs probably on my ride. It says I already got things prepped and prepared. It says, but that's me, right? Like it says, those are the things, the songs I'm gonna listen to. I said people I'll get on the phone with in a good way when I'm driving.
Yeah.
I says, but I think that's the aspect. It says of that excitement, right? That excitement, and my daughter called me this morning, like at 6:25. Says, "Hey, Dad, where are you?" And then I told her where I was at. I says, "Hey, when you coming up?" And then that's excitement, eh? That's the thing.
Mhm.
That's what gets you up and every day because you feel that. Like you say, and
Mhm.
I felt that as a young kid. I even feel that this now as a young at heart individual, we'll say,
Mhm.
and you feel that connection point, right? And I think that connection point that you have within yourself is the most important. I said lesson that you can have in your life. I said, and I know that it's going to pave the way. I think for me, I said, and the things that I'm going to continue to do, the people that I want to aspire with, the people I want to reconnect with, the people that I'm going to connect with. It says, but this is, let's stay in that moment. Let's just stay in that moment that allows us to do that what we need to do, and allows us to have a significant impact. It is on not only ourselves but the ones that are closest to us and the ones that we're going to inspire. Because you don't know where this is going to take us, right? We don't know. We just got to stay in that moment and do the best that you can do. But I remember talking to Tom Porter one time when we were at a session. He's an amazing individual. I like listening to him, and I like talking to him, and I like some readings and listening to. I remember met him years ago when I was actually up at a summer course up at Laurentian University, and how significant I said his grandmother was in his life with his, and how significant I said the people and ancestors were in his life. And he told me that. He says, like, we're connecting on so many different levels. He says, and I think what he talked about was, he says, and we were talking about some of the games that we play, and he says, yeah, some of them may have changed, and like you say, our modern stick game has kind of gone to this kind of plastic kind of mold injection thing. He says, but he says it still has power in it. He says it still has power to make difference and help shape kids' lives. He says, and the youth. And I look at our communities because 50% of our kids are under the age of 25 in our communities, and that's a youthful population. I said, but I see that as an opportunity as well. I see that as an
Mhm.
opportunity to strengthen us, to make us even more resilient, to even make us more stronger. And I think that's why I'll continue to do. That's why I'll continue to share. That's why I'll continue to care. That's why I'll continue to listen, and that's why I'll continue to do what I want to do. And that's my challenge, I guess, everybody out there. I says listening and who's online is to love yourself first. Yeah, give
Mhm.
that self love to you each and every day, and because it's going to make a difference. It's not only going to make a difference in your life. It's going to make a difference in your kids' life. It's going to make a difference. It says in the people who are significant to you. It's going to make a difference in your community. It's going to make a difference in the world. And it says, and never lose sight of that. Never lose sight of that, because that's just all about being the best that we can be every day. And they said, and giving that, and it's our responsibility to continue to do that. And we've all been gifted. We all have those gifts, skills, knowledge, abilities. But it's, to me, it's understanding. I said, what's within here, what's within our spirit, our heart, our gut, that's going to allow us to really transform lives, and do it in a very healthy, in a healthier way, even as well. And I take that. I says, I look at my journey, look back. I say that some of the pain that I've gone through, but I've learned lessons along the way, beautiful lessons, and I think that's the aspect that I want to continue to be able to share with individuals. Whether it's a virtual roadshow, I kind of like that aspect better. I says, but
Yeah, yeah, there's a yeah.
I'm so honored, like I say, just to have this time, because I mentioned it before, giving your time, energy, and space to people in life, and it don't have to be significant. Sometimes you need to have that time and energy and space for the people, I says, that need it as well. I says, but and it says that need is totally different. I says than that self love, because that love is rooted in our spirit. It's rooted in in who we are. Need is more about fear. We got to get beyond fear. We got to get
Mhm.
beyond that. Even what's going on in this world right now, I says, it's got a lot of people fearful. Even in my community, my own community, it says the responsibilities, like I said, that some of our medicine people have, and the people in other communities and we got to believe in what we got to believe in, right? Because it's going to get us over. We've been through so many challenging times. We're going to get through this, but we're going to get through this together, because you're all out there. You're all going to make a difference. all going to make a difference. And it's that sharing, that's caring, that understanding. It's that communication. It's reaching out to the youth or those people who may need it, and that people you may know maybe have not talked to in a while, and say, you know what can we do? What can we do in the spirit of cooperation to make this a better world, not only for yourself but for others? And I'm going to leave it at that and say Nyawa and Donito, and truly honored to share here today. Yeah.
Thank you so much. There's so many inspiring words, and you just leave us in a good spot, Kevin, to carry on, and to always remember that what you're learning from your son too. I'm learning. We all learn from our kids. That every day is a day that you're reborn, and every day is a new day. And just the fact that you're here, that we're here on this earth is a true miracle as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so I just want to say now I'm trying to say that properly.
Okay, it's all good. Yeah.
I'm Cree, so thank you, Chimagwich. And thank you so much for being here with us today. We're so honored and thrilled. And I think a virtual roadshow might be in order.
I'm all for that.
Have a wonderful, safe trip. Our luck with your kids, and turn those tunes on and sing.
Okay, Nyawa. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Okay.